Hey, what's going on out there, everybody? This is Sammy Leggy here representing Team JVS. Here to give you guys another movie review, and this is Karate Kid Legends. Yes, it is the first time where we're getting Daniel LaRusso and Jackie Chan's Mr. Han from the 2010s Karate Kid, which also portrayed a character named Dre that Mr. Han basically raised up. But this was taking place in Hong Kong to be the next Karate Kid. This time around, there's a newcomer, and he is unfortunately going from Hong Kong to America to try to go and make a life based on his circumstance. But as it usually goes, he has to kind of figure out where his place is as a man, as a kid, and also with Kung Fu. So, Ben Wong plays the role of Li Fong. His love interest is Sadie Stanley, played the role of Mia. Her dad is actually Joshua Jackson, played the role of Victor. And of course, Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan are playing their respective roles from the franchise as a whole. The other cool thing is Ming Na Wen is playing the role of Ben's mother, as well as you also have Wyatt Olaf. Wyatt Olaf from the It series. He's also in this as well as the main character. So let's go ahead and kind of break it down. What did I kind of think about it? So first off, I've been kind of waiting on the sidelines for this because I really didn't know how they were going to handle the trajectory of this. Because truth be told, like Daniel Russo, this is not his first outing. For the past 5 to 6, 7 years, we have been getting a epic show in Cobra Kai. And so when Cobra Kai ended, one of the big things at the end of that season was that, okay, wait, this following year, you're going to go and get the next Karate Kid. So I was thinking, okay, this is a generational thing. But if you've never seen Cobra Kai, there is generational struggle. There are newcomers that are brought up into that. And I'm not going to bring up any of those characters in this because I don't want to give you guys any impression that they're going to show up in this film because this is a non-spoiler review. But foundationally, the things that are core to Cobra Kai and who Daniel LaRusso comes from, where we know him from the first Karate Kid through that show into now, do lay a very interesting foundation to who and how this whole story is going to play out. So I was hoping for that. And I think that when it came to Jackie Chan with Mr. Han, I mean, this has been 15 years. That movie came out in 2010. And we didn't know a lot about Mr. Han, and we didn't know any kind of connection to what he could be connected to the franchise. We just thought this was just going to be a brand new incarnation. And I think there's a lot of implications there with this, but they found a way of making that work. Anytime you see Daniel LaRusso or Mr. Han together, it's going. Like they are great together. And I think that Ben as an actor does a really good job of working with them. And I think that he's also got a martial arts background. Like as far as his character Li Fong, like in the movie as well as in real life, he does have like a semi martial arts background. So it kind of fits really well into this really interesting divot where you're transitioning from Cobra Kai over to this character seamlessly because okay, this makes sense. Like it's not going to have to be starting from square one. It's more getting an understanding of foundations of where is the threat and who is he going to have to go after. So when it comes to the actual stunt work, the actual fights and the stunts of what he's able to do, and of course Jackie Chan and of course Ralph Macchio, they are killing it. Like I love their fight scenes. Like I think specifically Ben, some of the aerial fight scenes that he kind of handles, and I mean, like he is traversing on different stuff, doing a lot of parkour. This is absolutely one of the most talented martial artists that the franchise ever had as a main character. Although some people would say, sorry, Miguel or other characters, way more capable, but I do love how they handle martial arts in this. And also the other thing I do like is whenever I see Joshua Jackson's character Victor plays a very interesting role in this. And I think that he has some of the best scenes in this movie. I'm not even gonna lie. I actually appreciate him as a character and how he interacts and interfaces with Ben than any of the other characters, even more so at times than Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. Because truth be told, for me, if the movie just centered around a kid that goes into a convenience store, finds a guy that used to be, a washed up fighter, and they work together to try to train each other, I would have been fine with that. If that was what this was about only, that would have been a very interesting premise. Now, this is where I'm going to go into some of the negatives. Now, granted, I talked about how I liked the fighting and the fight scenes. I think that they're handled really well in terms of how the choreography is. But there's a caveat to that. And what I mean by that is every time that a fight scene is happening, sometimes they have a lot of tight end shots that you can't see what's going on. It's edited very quickly, and you don't really get to see the impact. And I'm not saying it needed to be like a slow motion or anything like that. I think that they set up the scenes very well. But one of the things that distinguishes from really good panned out shots is if you look at the Raid movie or even look at the John Wick movie, those scenes, when you see the action that are actually happening, you get to see everything that's happening. And that is unfortunately not the case with this film. There's a lot of times there's some great action and you can't tell anything that's actually happening. Like when they're doing like the training montage, it goes and speeds past. The other thing about this film that I did not unfortunately like, it had nothing to do with Ben. It really was just the pacing. Like this movie, it says on paper that it's an hour and 50 something minutes, but I only clocked it at an hour and 30 minutes. Now, there is a mid-credit scene, but there's not an end-credit scene. So make sure you remember that. And I think that that's where they kind of use that to funnel out how much time is allowed in this. But the actual core movie is only a tight hour and 30 minutes, and you feel it. It is paced very quickly, transitions very quickly, and that last final act where the tournament and the fight is actually happening, it goes by so quick. It's such a quick turnover that you appreciate what's happening and you're enjoying what you're seeing, but you also realize a part of that is because the main antagonist and the things surrounding the main antagonist and who they are, it's built on sand. Like it's a good martial artist that is played as a villain, but you don't really know the character. You don't really connect with the character. And I'm not saying they have to be a Johnny Lawrence or they have to be, I forgot what the other villain was for the 2020. It doesn't have to be that, but you want some kind of context and connective tissue, and you want to also take time. And the other thing about it is that the main antagonist is just them. There's not anybody else. It's just one person. So it doesn't feel as weighty as you would kind of hope. And I think the other part about, because it's being paced so quickly, there's not enough time for you to even gravitate or connect to the other relationships in the film that have to work so that you really do feel like something is at stake, so to speak. And I don't want to spoil it, but there are certain relationships that Ben's character Lee has, that those flashbacks do work and they make me feel something, but I needed more. I needed more time with not even just him with his mom, but I needed more time with the people that he comes into contact with. Now, this is the interesting thing. Sadie's character, Mia, I like when they're together, but I don't buy them together. I don't buy their relationship, and it goes by so quickly I don't feel any weight behind it. I feel more when he is with Joshua Jackson's character than I do when he's with the Mia character. And I honestly feel like if she it wasn't a love interest at all, I think it'd have been perfectly fine, and it would have allowed it more time, because the connection to the antagonist is through that character, and there's not enough build up to connect for that, and you don't really feel like, it just did not click, unfortunately, for me, without going into too much detail. This is really kind of harder than I thought it was actually going to be. Now, Wyatt Olaf's character, who's kind of like a study tutor, he's hilarious. Everything, as awkward as he is, he makes scenes that shouldn't work just based off of how he can act. And I think that he's not just a comedic relief, he's a good tonal shift. And I think that, again, if it was Wyatt and I think it was Joshua with with Ben and bringing that New York aspect to it, I think it would have been fine. I think it would have been perfectly fine. But the other thing I think that will unfortunately not hinder people, but in top of the pacing, on top of the way that the fight scenes are choreographed and actually shot from a DP standpoint, I think that people are going to anticipate having a lot more when you have on the tagline legends. Now, that does not take away from Jackie Chan or Ralph Macchio or anything else in this film. But I think that when you come from Cobra Kai that has an hour-long episode and then you get like an hour and 30-minute movie, you want more. You want 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. You want like cameos, other things, other nods. And that's not what you get with this first movie. I do think that there's room to have a sequel. I do think that they maybe do a trilogy with this. But unfortunately, within an hour and 30 minutes, this could have been like technically a transition Netflix film that came right after Cobra Kai. Like I mean that. And I think it maybe would have worked a little bit better. Because then at that point, you could maybe have connective tissue a little bit easier and transition. And I don't know what the budget was, but I think that some of the fight scenes, even from Cobra Kai, seem a lot more grand than this. Because with this, there are so many more elaborate set pieces and like martial arts forms, and even the way that that's actually handled. It gives more context and weight to the past, but it's just not enough payoff. I think that's the biggest thing. But if you just wanted to get a Karate Kid movie from an entertainment value standpoint, I think there is something for you here. I think that it does have some good action, albeit not shot as well as it could have. I think that Ben Wong does a really good job. I think that he actually is a good actor, and I think he's actually a good new addition to this. And having Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio together, I can't wait to see this again. I would love to see them together again. In terms of the film, that's where I think that people, it's going to be up to your interpretation. If you've never seen the Karate Kid movies before and you saw this, would it be enough for you to kind of connect with it, or you've seen something different or more? If you have seen it, like the originals, but you've never seen Cobra Kai, what do you feel about that? Like, is this a good enough place for you to kind of disconnect with? Because I think that the part of the way that they handled the transitional stuff is to give value for those people that haven't seen the Cobra Kai show, but I think that they could have leaned more into it. That's all I'm gonna say without saying too much. But what do I rate this? I rate it between 6.5, 6.5, between a 6.5 and a 7 out of 10. That's kind of where I land down with this one. But I want you guys to let me know what you think about it. It's going to be coming out very soon, so definitely let me know your thoughts. Make sure you like, subscribe to the bell button. Thank you guys so much for watching. Even you guys that are following us on TikTok and all the social medias, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Goodbye.